we wanted to create something bigger than us.
What had you done?
Well, I knew we had a good case, so I probably would have sued them, to be honest. I said to Seb, I think I just need to get off Twitter, I just can't handle it. I was in an 8-year relationship.
It's a long time.
You become inseparable. The period of my life that I probably achieved the most success, I got furthest away from my actual true personality. I basically got to 29, I was like, I can't go another year. One time I got in my car and literally drove about a mile away and sat in a random cul-de-sac about a mile away and just sat in my car. I was like, I need to not be in the house.
Play for something here. Officially 2 hours since we got underway here. Jack Harrison, are you going to get a book sent? In 2 hands, please, Jack. I'll get them big pink gloves around that ball. Can't be long left, boys. Can't be long left, mate. Come on. That's got to be it, ref. That's got to be it. Look at his watch. The ref's looking at his watch.
Thank you very much to Spencer for coming on the process. Go subscribe to the podcast, which is on iTunes and Spotify. We're doing this interview on a very, very special day for you. So tonight I'll be getting some shots from it. Hopefully, the boys bouncing about as will it be champions or will it be? It will be champions, right? To get promoted.
If we draw tonight, we hashtag United will be the league winners of our Step 6 league, which can go up as well because only the first team go up. So it's pretty special. I'm pretty nervous actually, I'm not going to lie. I'm glad we're doing this just to distract me.
That's what you said when I was coming in. You were like, you can do with a couple of hours sort of out of your own mind, I guess. I wonder what your perspective is on football now, being an owner of a football club. It must, you're looking at West Ham a little bit different now.
Yes and no, it's a very different world, isn't it? The level that we're operating at
True.
It's so little money in the level we're at, and obviously the amount of money that's at the top part of the game changes everything. But you do learn some things about players and about mentalities and about attitudes of other teams and how they interact with you that you don't really think about as much when you're just playing or not involved in the kind of organised competition that we are now. But it's been a fascinating process. I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I bet. Well, let's get into that in a bit. I'm intrigued to talk to you in terms of your whole adult life. A lot of it being kind of played out on YouTube, but also at the same time, I always think of you as a very kind of professional person, and that's kind of been a big part of you throughout, and how you've kind of behind closed doors kind of had to battle with the idea of trying to be professional in whatever you're doing. How long have you been on YouTube? Could you say?
Yeah, technically 11 years, but I was actually on something called Google Video before that, which was a predecessor to YouTube.
Yeah,
and I was on there involuntarily because I made these little videos in my mum and dad's attic of me basically dancing to songs. They were sort of mini viral as well for their time. One of them had 200,000 views, which for 2006 that went up. That was I don't know what the equivalent is in today's money, but that's probably millions of views.
What's your understanding of that? Why that went viral at that moment in time?
No, to be fair,
there's less options.
I'm not taking any credit for this because I did not make them to be seen by the public.
Something.
No, I definitely didn't have something. That was probably why they liked it. It was more that no one had really done that sort of thing yet. It's not carpool karaoke or whatever. Even before that, just people miming. I was miming and dancing to these songs. It's nothing that clever. Yeah. But it hadn't really gone onto the internet yet. That sort of thing. I'm not saying I was the first. I almost certainly wasn't. And like I say, I didn't mean for it to go on the internet. But just the idea of this kid, a really skinny kid, so I was probably 15, 16, in mum and dad's attic, dancing to Don't Stop Me Now by Queen and miming all the words and then getting little props involved and stuff.
Did you have those little moments of kind of showmanship even younger than that, 5, 6 or whatever?
To an extent. I've definitely got middle child syndrome.
I'm a middle child.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh, is that a thing then? What?
Yeah, it's attention seekers basically. We all are apparently, because the older brother or the older sibling is the first and the most cherished, so to speak, supposedly. And then the younger brother gets all the attention, or the younger sibling, because they're the youngest and they're the baby, and the middle one gets forgotten. That's what they say.
Okay.
And
that's interesting.
I used to do a bit of plays and stuff at school. Did hospital radio at 14.
FIFA player. Once I found out it was you, I would please don't take this the wrong way, but you're a lot more straight laced now than that character. And that character was felt a bit rock and roll. He felt a bit rock and roll though, didn't he? He was lethal injection, all that stuff. That was my first introduction into loving a YouTube character.
Oh really?
Yeah, because I think if you're a football fan, then you find YouTube, quite quickly find Copper 90.
Yeah.
And at that moment in time, I was like, who is this dude? And like, why is he talking like that? How does he talk so quickly? And I think even now, you see it in your commentary sometimes. Don't you? You drift off to FIFA player. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I always say that the real me is a mixture between Spencer FC and FIFA player. Because Spencer FC, and in quotation marks, is a character as well in a way, isn't it? Everyone plays a character on YouTube. You even play a character on YouTube, whether you mean to or not.
Yeah.
Because no one's completely themselves on camera.
Yeah.
And it's very, very freeing actually to, especially when you actually have a mask, particularly.
Yeah,
you actually hidden identity, and no one knows, as they did at the time, who was behind the mask. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
It's quite cool. And my background was I've been doing stand-up comedy for a few years before that, and I had done a few things at school. We had like a comedy club at school, which was my first involvement in that.
Was the stand-up, was it a similar feel as FIFA player?
I got a lot more nervous with stand-up than I did FIFA player.
Yeah.
Maybe because I was younger and I was newer to it, and doing stand-up definitely helped me in everything I did post that.
What was the reason to go, okay, right, there's all these different things, stand-up?
Actually, there's a couple of reasons. The school I went to for sixth form had this really cool thing called the FDL, which was this basically, it's supposed to be a debating society, but it's completely run by the students. It was student elected, and it was basically a comedy club, and you took the mick out of your fellow students.
Right.
And it's like the perfect audience to get good at that sort of thing from, because you're doing it in front of your peers. You don't want to mess up because you're going to get mugged off every day at school for it. So it was really good. And then so stand-up was a natural follow from that. And then also I wanted to do radio, so I'd done hospital radio at school, was going to do student radio at uni, and I saw people like a guy who I know now quite well, but I didn't at the time, Tom Deacon, who just won this event called the Chortle Stand-Up Student of the Year, and he then went straight into Radio 1 off the back of it. So my thought process was, I think I could do stand-up, and it might help me get radio gigs as I did with this guy. So that's why I got into it.
Because I think we're similar in that sense that we both love our football, and I think we both saw that traditional landscape of what a presenter is and how you become a presenter. So for me, it was like the things I saw Dermot O'Leary.
Yeah.
And I found out that Dermot O'Leary was like, he was a runner first, and and so right, okay, I need to try and become a runner, and that's your way into it.
Yeah.
And so for you,
I did the same thing pretty much as well. And I do remember googling Dermot O'Leary. He's actually from not far from here. He's from Colchester.
Yeah.
And thinking the same thing, and I did running, I did all that stuff before I got into Copper 90 and anything like that. So yeah, probably quite similar.
Once you got into online, did you think, oh, okay, right, this is where there could be a few more opportunities?
Definitely not at first, because like I said, I've been doing it for quite a few years, even before I finished uni, to no real avail. Going back on what you just said though, there was one thing that was quite interesting that came from online, which was I made this YouTube video to audition to be a T4 presenter. So they were doing this.
I did the same one. I did the same one.
So I got my thing got picked, and I went and did this audition.
Yeah, me too.
And
that's so weird.
Maybe it might be interesting. Because they might have said the same thing to you. Because I always remember what they said to me. Because I don't think I did the audition very well.
Right.
I don't think I knew as soon as I walked in there it wasn't for me.
So you have to do like a 1 minute thing.
The thing on YouTube is just like 1 minute spiel.
I did the exact same thing.
And then it's still private on my channel somewhere. And then I got invited to do this sort of face-to-face thing in Princess Studios and Princess Productions, and
which is a really weird place because it's in like a shopping centre. Yeah,
like Bayswater or something.
Yeah.
And you know what T4's like? It's not even around anymore, I don't think, is it? But
no,
everyone on there.
It was the one though, wasn't it, at the time? Because it had a bit more charm to it, right?
Simon Amstel, Alexa Chung, big fans of them.
Yes, I mean.
But yeah, usually, like if you're not them, the generic kind of T4 presenter, or maybe you could say presenter in general, is this like great looking, like almost clothes horse that says what I need to say, which I didn't know I wasn't at that point.
Yeah.
But I went in there, and the first question they asked me in the audition, which to this day I still think is a ridiculous first question for an audition to be a presenter, is what's your style about my clothes I was wearing.
Right.
And I remember just thinking, I've got nothing to say about that. I don't have a style. I'm not like that guy.
Remember what you were wearing?
The funny thing was, I was wearing a jumper with a wolf on it.
Oh,
and jeans, and I went to them, right, it seems that my style is jumpers with wolves on at the moment. And I remember them thinking like, yeah. And me thinking, even when they asked me that, I knew my answer wasn't good. But more importantly, I knew that I didn't want to be asked that question. I was like, I don't feel comfortable in the situation.
Yeah.
I think why should we be judged on that?
That's interesting. So, sorry, just because I went through the exact same thing. Was there a big queue of people outside?
There wasn't a big queue, but there was like a few of us waiting in the thing, yeah.
So I had that, and there was quite a few people, and I remember getting there and thinking, everyone's got makeup on, men or women. Everyone's got fake tan. Everyone's got really white teeth. and everyone, like 1 in 4 people have got a hat on. Like a weird little bike, be a bowler hat or something like that. And they were all, it was exactly like that. And I remember trying to do it myself, and you do walk away thinking,
yeah,
I'm not sure I really
I knew I wasn't going to get it, but more importantly, I think I knew I didn't want to get it.
Yeah.
And years later, you know a guy called Poet, obviously from Copper 90. I remember meeting him, and he said to me, because he's much more kind of the more traditional presenter route, if you like, even though it's not traditional. He said, I don't want to be a presenter, I want to be a personality, which I thought was quite interesting, or stuck with me, because presenter, you're often just reading an auto cue. Nothing against anyone that is a presenter, by the way. It's not an easy job to do, and there's a lot of credit to them. But
yeah,
it's not. So I didn't want to go and just read someone else's words and.
That's so funny you say that. Oh, God, it's weird. So I then got into. I was in TV, and I remember there was a director I became mates with because I didn't realise he was a director, and no one else spoke to him the way that I spoke to him. I thought he was just some bloke, and he basically said. He was like, "Oh, what do you want to do?" And I was like, "I want to be a sports presenter." And he went, "Waste of time. You're wasting your time. You should be an entertainer or something like that." And I went, "Well, I don't think it is a waste of time." And we then got into this, not arguing, but like, he was shocked the way that this runner was speaking to him. And from that, weirdly, we became friends. But he said he was very clear, and he worked with Ant and Dec and Dermot O'Leary and all these people, and he was saying, don't be that guy who is just reading something. Make sure, at the very least, you're writing those words that you're reading. And I think this, again, is probably before the YouTube thing had blown up so much so that people recognized it and were like looking to get into it themselves. But even at that stage, if you look at Ant and Dec, they are exec producers of their shows. Yeah. They're not this... they have a lot of presenters now, TV presenters, and people thought that, okay, right, cool, this is going to be fine. They're slaves to the producers. They're slaves to the channels because they don't own anything that they do. Yeah. And as someone who was a producer, you would go, all right, okay, so we need someone for this thing. Oh, let's get Joe Swash. He's lovely. He's so much nicer than the other lot. So let's say Joe Swash gets the job, even though he maybe isn't better than someone else. And I remember thinking that myself, thinking, I'm not getting any opportunities here. Yeah. This is ridiculous. And why am I not? The reason I was, by that point, I wasn't getting opportunities because it was about Twitter followers at that moment. And so for you, when you then started to create your own audience, and I guess that really, really started to kick off after Copper 90? After leaving Copper 90?
It was during FIFA player stuff. Yeah. It was... because at first that was quite a successful show at the time, but no one knew I was him, so I wasn't like benefiting. I was an employee at Copper 90, so I didn't get paid any more because FIFA Player was doing well. Not that I'm saying I was worried about that, but if I didn't do it, it didn't make a difference to my salary, if you like. And I wasn't doing it for money, but I wanted to at least know that if it stopped, because they could pull the plug on it any minute, I could go somewhere from it. If no one knows it was you, what can you do?
Yeah. So did you feel how did you feel in that period of time? Did you feel a bit frustrated?
The thing is, I loved the character and I helped create the character, so I believed it was right for the character so I wasn't trying to change that because I felt.
And it's still early on for you, and you're cracking on, aren't you?
Yeah, I just wanted to know there was some sort of progression or whatever, and but that was the kind of catalyst, and then people started to figure out, because they found my other videos that I'd made. I still had like a football channel, or I had like a football betting channel back then. Actually, I used to talk about betting. I was quite into it at the time, and. Some kid made this video of found a video of FIFA Player going like this and saw a freckle on this arm, and then found a video of me with the same freckle and was like, it must be him. But then no one really cared enough to look at that video. So but that was the catalyst for it all. And then obviously once FIFA Player stopped and I started being Spencer FC, it kind of escalated. But that was a big gamble for me because I thought it might go the other way. I thought people might not be interested in me if I'm not, being a dick playing FIFA. Some would argue I still am, but not as much. And but luckily it went the other way, and I was able to, it freed me a little bit to do different things, and then it started to take off. That was around 2014.
So then that whole FIFA era, it just kind of blew up, didn't it? I remember Casey Neistat talking about how it's the hardest amount of subs to get is that first 10k. Then it's easy to get to 20k, then 10k, and so on and so on. Yeah. Can you remember where you kind of were, and what kind of ages you were at, say 100k, 250k? Yeah. Where were you at 100k?
So I had my personal channel, which still exists now. It's called Spencer Owen. was my first channel. And I think before Copper 90, I started to have a little bit of success actually. I missed out a bit, which is I started making these football poems. And I made a video called the Premier League Poem, which was my first video to get like maybe 100,000 views, I think, it got at the time, which was massive for me because I had like 500 subscribers, like no real following. It just got shared by a lot of football websites and stuff. And I kept doing them. So I had that, but that channel was in the low thousands probably, maybe 10,000. Then I started the FIFA Player channel, which then got changed to Spencer FC. So I think I was on about 150k subs, or maybe just under that, before I switched to Spencer.
Right.
So I'd gone through a lot of that as FIFA Player, and I had a huge backing from Copper 90. You know, they'd paid for the series FIFA Player on Copper 90. I'd kind of done all the work for the FIFA Player channel myself, but character wouldn't have existed without them.
Yeah.
And so I could never profess to have done it all my own, if you like, in that sense. And I'll often say that to people when they're like, how do you go from watching it? Everyone needs a thing. It could be like Joe Wellers was KSI sharing his video or whatever. Like, everyone has a thing. Yeah,
totally.
And my thing was, you know, my job at Copper 90, being in front of the right people, convincing them to take a chance on this weird show with Chav playing FIFA.
Yeah. There's no less value in that. You know, I think that's part of it as well that people kind of forget. There's this kind of, what was the phrase I heard the other day? It was like, hustle porn. There's this idea that people were kind of going, you do you don't need anyone else, just believe in yourself, blah, blah, blah. That may be true, and there's an element of that because you need to have belief in yourself and all those things. You also need to get along with people.
Yeah.
You also need to do work selflessly on certain things to, again, get that trust in different people. You also have to, got to do all those things as well, because if you're just a dick who just believes in themselves,
I think I had my moments, to be fair. I was in that category. Yeah? Definitely ruffled some people up the wrong way at Copper 90. Were
you very different?
I was hired as a guy who knew football YouTube, because I'd made my own football YouTube channel. Not a massive one, but I'd done the football poem video and I had a little bit about me in there. Right. And I knew the guys from Copper 90 because I'd worked for their sister company as a community manager on a social media role on their football computer game before. And then the year before that, I'd worked for Vincent Company as a social media guy. They'd introduced me to that. So I knew the guys that just won the pitch to have Copper 90 really well. And I cared a lot about it, and everyone did, obviously, but I maybe cared too much at first, and I'd be quite forceful in my suggestions to people.
Oh, really?
If someone didn't, I thought someone made a mistake. For example, I remember one guy, like, the first video we ever made, like, months and months of planning had gone into this channel. So much money had been spent. And the first video, the guy who was in charge of it, who shall remain nameless, but uploaded it with like the wrong title and thumbnail. It was like, we'd had months to do this. And we were in different offices at the time, and I remember running to the other office and just going, what the heck? And this guy was older than me, more senior than me in the business, and I was probably way out of line. In my head, I was like, I know I'm right. Like, I know I'm right because he's wrong, and it should be. I wasn't maybe very honed at learning how to speak to people in the workplace. And I had a few chats with people about that.
Right.
But that came from a good place. Yeah. It came from me, and I don't think I lost that entirely.
Was that not a regular thing, but was that a weakness of yours that you were kind of like, maybe the intentions were right, but the way it was coming out was...
I think the best way to put it, my mate put this, is that I didn't suffer fools very well. Right. And I'm not, I think I have mellowed out a lot, and as probably does happen with most people when they grow older.
Yeah.
But I wanted all the right things, and I was very keen. I remember one time I did get pulled into the office, and one of the guys, senior guys there, was like, Spence, what's wrong? And I was like, what do you mean? I'm great. And he was like, you just seem like you're in a mood with everyone all the time. And I was like, well, not all the time. I just think, I couldn't quite understand what his issue was. So I was like, I'm the one looking out for your thing. If you lose, like, if I stop doing this, it's all going to go to shit, trust me.
Right.
And I was like, I should be rewarded if anything. And as with time, I obviously learned, you can do all the same things I was trying to do in a better way.
And I guess, in the years that have passed, you're a boss yourself now. I think that's probably the biggest thing in terms of the difference between a good boss and a bad boss is how they communicate to their staff as much as making the right decisions for everything else.
Well, I'm not going to sit here either and say that I'm a great boss, to be honest. It's not something that I enjoy doing, like managing people. It's not. One of the reasons I left Copper 90 was I was in a position where I was managing people.
Right.
And I thought this is for someone else to do. Like, I don't want to do this. Like, nothing against the people I was managing. I wanted the best for them, but like, people coming to me with their career problems. I was like 23. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing in my own career yet, mate. I was like, I need to focus on this. I wanted to do more creative things. I felt a little bit trapped in that, and I felt that if I went down that route, I'm sure there was money there, I'm sure there was opportunities there, but I'd just be doing stuff for other people, not me. Ultimately, that's why I think it helped me to be my own boss, because I could use that energy that maybe was wrongfully channeled in an environment where there's people I didn't necessarily agree with doing the right things or trying hard enough or whatever. I never had that problem.
Yeah,
I was always very driven.
It's on you, yeah.
So when I actually literally put my career on my own back and said, well, I've got to make this work, I didn't have anyone holding me back. But having said that, fast forward a few years when we first started having employees, just showed you in there the room, this house used to be the office. I had loads of instances where I'd probably speak the wrong way to, and you have to remember, a lot of people that worked with me in the business, and some still do, were like close family or friends. So it's really awkward when you've got an issue with them.
Yeah, but I guess that's a dangerous setting anyway, because you know you're always going to be family, especially you and your guys. You know, you're so close that that almost gives you carte blanche to kind of be moody or be harsher or be rude because you know your brothers.
Yeah, but it does. It goes both ways, doesn't it? Though?
Yeah,
because like you can talk to them in a way you wouldn't talk to someone else, but then they're the one people you don't want to hurt or piss off, and it's like. I can't remember who said this to me. Someone once said to me, "You're not supposed to like your boss." Someone said that to me. It's like, to be a boss isn't supposed to be... It's great if you can be friendly. It's great if you can have a boss you can go down and have a drink with and all that. But that's not what they're there for. It's not what you're there for. They're there to... If they don't run the company, they're running it for someone else. They're there to make it work, succeed. And you're there to get wherever you want to get to in your career, maybe with that company, maybe you're going to leave at some point. But their goal is not to be your friend. And your goal, as much as it's great, is to do well in your career.
Yeah.
But that's hard when you're the boss of, or you're working with, your brother or your whoever. So you don't want to not be liked. But sometimes to get stuff done, particularly when you're in a small team, hasn't got a lot of money. Even now, we've never outgrown our resources as a company, or hashtags, I should say, because we didn't go like some of these companies start with a lot of money and then they can create it from that.
Yeah,
that's what Copper90 was. It was a load of money given as a Google Originals channel.
Yeah,
to go and fund it. I'm the opposite. I was no money, no help, and then I'd only hire people when I knew I had enough money to pay them. So I had to go the reverse way, and that creates certain pressures and stress. And I definitely would say it didn't always bring out the best of me.
I think I've worked for big companies and small companies, and the difference is that when you have a better opportunity to do things right with a bigger company. But it doesn't mean that you will, because often people can hide. And and it can be all a bit flabby. Whereas when you're starving, when you're a small company and you're starving, what might actually happen is you just haven't got enough like cogs to keep the machine going, or they're kind of getting overstretched.
Yeah.
But generally, you'll actually get a bit more out of it. And as someone who's you're going through your 20s and you're trying to kind of learn your way in this field as well, you're going to learn a hell of a lot quicker, right? Yeah,
and you can move quicker as a company, especially in the content world. You don't have to get things approved by 10 people. You don't have to do a lot of the things you have to do in the bigger companies or production companies. So, but yeah, I think I'm actually reading the book by Phil Knight, the guy who created Nike at the moment, called Shoe Dog. I haven't finished it yet, but I've got a feeling it ends well. And but he's at that point at the moment where he's just started the company and he's got lawsuits and he's all this, and you're like, every day he thinks he's going to go bust, and he's having to explain to his wife and his kids they might have no money, and you're thinking, man, how crazy if you could tell that guy that you're going to be the guy that owns Nike in a few decades. So yeah, it all starts somewhere, and I definitely learned a lot in that period, not just about business or work, but about myself and what I was good at and what I wasn't good at, or what I wanted to do and what I didn't want to do.
Right.
So what
were those?
Well, I've always had a duplicitous job in the sense that I've got my own stuff, is in my own YouTube channel, whatever. I've got my own career things that I want to do, like presenting and things that I've gone and done externally from hashtag. And then I've got hashtag, which is a huge thing and which took over my life. It's still a huge part of it, but now I've got more people to help me.
Yeah.
So I'd have instances where I may be I'd gone away for 5-6 days to work on some EA presenting thing. And they're long days, great days, I love them. Yeah. But they're long, you're on air for like 12, 13 hours, 4 days in a row. And you get home and you're knackered. But they're weekends as well, so you got to get home. I'd be in my bedroom upstairs on Monday and I have 7 people underneath me working for me because it's all in the house. And yeah, of course I could they knew my situation. None of them were like knocking on my door asking me for stuff. They were all very respectful. But I found it very hard to relax in that environment and be like, I'm going to give myself 2 days off now because I didn't have a weekend. Sometimes I hadn't had a weekend in months. By that I mean just some days off.
Yeah.
I'm going to allow myself that time. I'd be like, no, they're down there. They know that I'm up here not working. I need to be down there. I need to be in my office at least. I've got another sort of room that I use as an office. know it and show that I'm working, or else it's not a very good example I'm setting. But it's like, it's not healthy to think that way, because I'm doing 3 businesses essentially. I've got at that point I've got my own, you know, personal opportunities, got my own YouTube channel to maintain, and I've got this football club, which is also an esports club. It's all these things, trying to do so much things, and it's all at that point for the first sort of 2 years or just under 2 years of the club was all answerable to me. It's like not healthy, and I'm not gonna lie, I had moments. One time I got in my car and literally drove about a mile away and sat in a random cul-de-sac about a mile away and just sat in my car. I was like, I need to not be in the house.
Really?
Because it was an house and an office.
So in terms of, wow, so yeah, there's no escape.
No.
Because I guess that's the other problem is like...
You don't hear about that side of it.
No, well that's it, and I think that's what I'm interested in finding out, is because with success comes greater ambitions. Your perspective changes. You know, when you get to 100K, you go, hey, and then you just look at the next thing. And it's like that in every single thing. So for you, in terms of starting up #United, as much as it was, you know, just maybe a creative decision initially. I mean, I don't know that. I'm guessing it probably wasn't actually. But if it was initially and it wasn't something that serious, naturally once it then does well, you're an ambitious person. You want it to become bigger and bigger. But as things get bigger and bigger, the capacity in your mind you're gonna run out. So it must be difficult to keep that balance.
Yeah, I mean it's really easy to look back on things and connect dots that maybe weren't there at the time. But I can tell you how # came about. Once my brother got on board and started working with me, we had an older brother, Seb. Both worked for us, but Seb sort of was more on the business side, whereas Saunders was kind of just helping us create great stuff. We wanted to create something bigger than us. We didn't know it was going to be a football club, we didn't know what. We said, how do we create something that we don't know how long this YouTube bubble is going to last, we don't know how long people are going to want to watch our stuff. How do we create something that is essentially something that, worst case scenario, we can work on and be paid from that company to exist. We had loads of different ideas, loads of different thought processes. I was simultaneously interested in esports because I've been doing some presenting in esports, and I'd seen what I thought was the potential for FIFA. I had this idea to do a Game Academy series, which was like The Apprentice to find a FIFA player. And I'd just done the first Wembley Cup. And I decided, right, I want to do something about football, a football club. My background is, I started a football club when I was 16 with my dad. A lot of the boys that played for #, went and got a grant from the local council to do it. Like, I was very much that guy that was super busy and probably annoyed all my mates, asking to play football all the time. I had followed my dad's semi-pro team, East Thurrock, one of the first football content I made on my other channel, with the now manager of #, who was the assistant manager of East Thurrock at the time. So all these things, I'd shown that I was interested in a club, and I'd always said my end career ambition was to own a football club one day. But I thought that was going to be at 60, after hopefully having some kind of successful career. Yeah. And I'd buy a non-league club or something. That was like a thing that may or may not ever happen, but it was like a thing I'd like to do. Just like my brother wants to retire and play golf every day. You know, there was the thing that was there in the distance. Yeah. And I was like, okay. First idea, which we binned very quickly, Seb binned, was I decided I wanted to just, I had obviously done right out of YouTube and I had some money and I was wondering whether I should invest in property or get a house or whatever. Yeah. It's not something I'd ever grown up thinking I'd do at that age.
You're told that they're safe investments though, aren't you?
Yeah.
Things like that.
And that's why I really did it, but it wasn't something that I needed to do or wanted to do. It wasn't like it wasn't a passion of mine. Yeah, of course. And I thought at one point about buying, I was looking online for these dilapidated old football stadiums, and I was going to buy a stadium, as cheap as I could find, like up north somewhere, as cheapest area I could get, move there in a caravan and make my whole channel from that point on about trying to renovate a football stadium and create a football team out of that stadium from nothing. And I was like, how cool would this be? Like, everyone can follow the adventure. This guy's the football club that YouTube built, all this stuff. And I thought it was this amazing romantic story, and I was going to put all my money into it and everything. And then Seb just went, you'll be living in a caravan, mate, you'll hate it.
Yeah, of course.
Nothing against caravans.
I love that you kind of got so excited by the idea that you just kept going and going and going down it, so you had it all planned out.
When Seb came to talk about it, it wasn't a discussion, I was telling him I was doing it. I was saying, I'm doing this. And Seb was like, you're not going to do that, mate. It's a bad idea. He sort of talked me around. Same way I had to get a tattoo once for FIFA player as a punishment, and I was confident I was going to get it on my bum. And Seb was the guy that told me not to get my bum, I'd regret it. And he was right, and I got it on my foot instead.
So is that's a good dynamic then that Seb offers, is that like, you know, that perspective, that kind of, that head that can go,
sometimes I'm a bit overly romantic and I'll go too far with an idea, and he'll just go, well, and Seb was very crucial in that. So we binned the stadium idea, and then we thought, okay, let's make a documentary about a semi-pro football club. Let's try and get a brand. We've just done the first Wembley Cup. Let's try and get another brand to give us some money to buy a semi-pro football club and take it up a level and like make a whole documentary series about it. How cool would that be? So I was really interested in non-league and all that sort of stuff. And then we thought, we can do that, but we're always going to get stick for taking over a club and maybe changing it a bit. And you're only as good, it only works as long as the brand continues to give you money, because these clubs cost money. You know, like even non-league clubs, some of them are losing 100 grand a year, and they're never going to see that back, and they only survive if that owner has the whim to give them money.
Yeah, I would say it's almost up to like 80% of football clubs that like often it's just a chairman who wants to be the guy for a season or two. They go there, they waste all their money. They go, hang on a minute, this isn't really worth it, and then they go.
None of them have sustainable models.
No.
And so we decided, we pitched that idea. We pitched that idea to some brands and said, look, do you want to give us some money to do this? Some were interested, but it was like, I was never really fully committing to it, because I felt like I wasn't ultimately in control of it, because if that brand, I couldn't find someone to sponsor it season 2, where do we go with it? Yeah. So I was like, well, look, we just said, look, people have watched me and a load of other YouTubers and you know, very low level, because the Wembley Cup's got progressively better in football level. The first year was pretty poor. Football-wise, at Wembley Stadium, like 20 million people had watched that video, maybe not so many at that point. And I was like, right, how do we do that more regularly? Well, I can't get those guys together regularly. It's too many of them, it's too expensive, logistical nightmare.
YouTubers as well, you got no chance.
Can't get Wembley every week either.
Forget that. You just get those guys out on a Saturday or Sunday morning when they're hungover. It's just not going to happen.
It's hard enough getting them to come to Wembley, to be honest, which is ridiculous. And
I am always available every single year until my groin's back up.
Yeah, there's the core group that are like Chris MD is a legend. He's always like, when can I play Wembley again? I'll be there. He's well up for it. So we said, well, let's try it. And a friend of ours from that team that I created at 16 had just died, who died a year or two before. My dog's actually named after him. Joey's named after my mate Joe. And we were doing a memorial game, as we'd done a few times, with his friends from uni and our friends from the team. And I said, I'm just going to film it. I'm going to take any money I make from the monetisation of it and donate it to the Clean Beer charity. But also I'm going to use it as an opportunity to say to the guys, would you like to see this group of mates play again? Because it's all the boys from #, the original team. And they liked it. And then we basically, all these things came together. I had this Game Academy thing happening. I was like, well, I can make this a football club and an esports team. I was involved in helping.
So you had that idea right from the start that it would be an esports team as well?
Yeah, and we said it at the start, it's as much an esports team as it is a football club.
That's really impressive.
So like the Man Cities and the West Hams, who I'd helped get involved in esports, are always going to be a football club that maybe has an esports team. You know, like Galatasaray, I've got a basketball team, but they're always going to be a football club. So we're both at the same time equal.
Wow. And
#Harry was technically our first ever signing of any kind, because we didn't have any and signed any players at that point, apart from the lads I'd already played with. So, and then Seb had a really important idea. We actually had it all set up. We were on the train to go meet Umbro, who are our first kit providers, sponsors, to design the kits. And we didn't know what it was going to be. We knew it was going to be something, but we didn't know how it was going to work.
Oh, so you had the meeting first?
The meeting, well, we knew it was going to be a football club, and we had a meeting. They were going to. Umbro had already got introduced to, because they sponsored the Game Academy series. So there's all these things coming together. Right. I was like, do you want to help us do something even bigger than that? And this football team we're going to create. And on the train up, Seb had we were like, how do we? It was January, right? We can't join Sunday League. I didn't actually want to join Sunday League. I played 10 years of Sunday League. I love it. I still play it now, but there's already people doing that, and they've done a good job at it. Like the Palmers lot and all those other guys, loads of others have come up since. I think it's mainly Palmers at the time. Yeah. I don't want to just recreate what they've done. Yeah. I want to film it in a certain way. It's very important, because one of the things we were one of the first people to do on YouTube was film football to a, not match the day standard, but not to a guy on the sidelines with a camera standard. We had multiple camera setups, and we took it really seriously, like we had in the Wembley Cup. And I want us to never get games called off, because I want this to be a regular thing. So obviously you know how much you get Sunday League games called off. So how do we combine all those things? We have to be able to play on 3G, first of all, so the games never get called off. We have to be able to play games whenever we want to, so we can't go in another league that tells us what to do. And we know we can get good opportunities, because we've been offered them before, like stadiums and stuff. So we need to be completely flexible. And Seb had the idea on the way up on the train. He said to me, why don't we base it off FIFA? And I was like, what do you mean? Because I'm making all these FIFA series, I'm doing a FIFA esports team. Why don't we use the division structure from FIFA, where we play other teams. They don't even know they're in a league with us, but they are. We're trying to get certain points, and we can create challenges, we can create rewards. And I was like, literally said to him at the time, you just made the club at that point.
And that is such an integral element of it, isn't it? That like you say, it connects a lot of the dots of the two channels, and that's a massive choice not going into Sunday League, and one that what I'm kind of realising with you, chatting to you now, and I was saying at the start, I'm intrigued to kind of understand you a bit better. Control's a big thing, isn't it, for you? And so even with that format, you know, you've got the Copper 90 element, the wanting to have the standards that you want in terms of how it comes out, the ability to control the fact that you're going to play every single 2 weeks, all those elements of control, it shows that allows you to make the product that you want, which is ultimately a great product.
It comes from a couple of things. It comes from one, learning a few lessons earlier in my career where I wasn't ultimately in control of something that hurt me or hurt my ability to do it well. And wanting to be in charge of my own destiny, but then also just from a purely content creation standpoint, like you're not going to get not that I'm comparing what we do to a film or whatever, or Game of Thrones or anything, but you're not going to get these huge productions and go, right, we want to shoot a location in a castle setup, but we can only work on the dates this castle's available. It's not going to be available for 6 months, so we won't film it for 6 months. Like, do you know what I mean? You just make it happen. You find a way of making it happen. And that's what we did. And we got a lot of stick for it at the time from people who were like, well, it's not a real league. And yeah, we definitely cared more than some of our opponents about winning the game, for sure. That's why it was good.
Yeah.
And our audience cared about us winning the game. And our third game was at Wembley Stadium. Our fourth game was at Man City. Our sixth game was at Upton Park, one of the last ever games. Like, we could never have done that in Sunday League.
But that's why it was such a clever move for me, because you know, with Ball Street, we've done we did the Fan League Cup the other year. We've kind of it's an idea that often when you see a new idea, you go, wow, that's exciting, and then you think about how could other companies get involved in that, or how could you, because there's a lot of football channels. The thing that's always a difficulty is how do you make people care? Because ultimately you're creating entertainment that people need to get involved in, and it's story first. It's about the story. And so if people don't care about the characters, or just as importantly, the situation that they're in, that's why we're all enthralled about Man City, Liverpool right now, because there's something, because it matters. So playing friendly after friendly after friendly after friendly, it's not enough, is it?
No, we said, even when we were pitching it to sponsors and stuff, we said we're going to create an entertainment format out of it. We said we're never going to tamper with what happens on the pitch. The pitch we will react to what happens on the pitch, but we will be creative with things like motivations for what happens if you win games or things like this. So when we won, I can't remember what division it was now, maybe Division 3 of our 5 division thing, we got to go to tour to America.
Yeah.
And what you don't see on the camera is I'd committed a lot of money personally to pay for that tour before we got a sponsor. So luckily we got a sponsor for it, which made it break even.
Right.
But I was going to be paying for it, and it was going to be nowhere near as cool as it would have been if I'd paid for it, because the sponsor allowed us to do more stuff, play more games, etc. But it would have all been cancelled if we hadn't won the game. This is the thing.
Oh, really?
It wasn't like, oh, if we get this division, we'll go to America on a tour. But if we don't get it, we'll just go anyway. It was like, no, they have to earn it. I'm playing in the team at this point.
So which game is this, so people can go back and watch it?
It's the Palmer's game that got us it.
Really?
It was the last game, I think, in Division 3.
God, there was enough spice in that anyway.
Yeah. I can't remember if we told the players before if they were playing for a tour. I think we just said there was a reward, but we knew, Seb and I knew what it was and what they'd miss out on if we didn't win. And there's always stuff like that now, tonight. The boys don't know if we win the league tonight what I might do as a reward.
Yeah.
And things that they probably expect there's going to be something.
Bloody hell, that's... Because, and I think, annoyingly, that game, maybe another game you could have gone, guys, can we just... if it's a different kind of friendly game, you could go, look, let's play 2 30 minutes and we'll have the second one.
No, the only thing like that...
Palmer's, you couldn't. That was a massive moment in YouTube that people were excited to see.
We had 500 people there as well, so it was that was funny because there was a whole... backlash to that, which I think I've got into another podcast before, and me and Smith were on good terms. It's all fine, but at the time we weren't, and there was a backlash, and there was a lot of both camps sort of hating each other, and our guys saying one thing, their guys saying their thing, and the accusations being thrown back and forth. Something I've never been able to fully shake for whatever reason since the first Wembley Cup. that I somehow try to alter the games I'm playing. Like, I've never got involved in it. I mean, you've been involved in the series.
Yeah, I Ball Street played hashtag, and yeah, you absolutely hammered us.
In fact, when I got a goal disallowed against you, it was one of the best headers I've scored for offside, which wasn't offside.
Yeah, well, yeah, and no, look, yeah. The Wembley, trust me, the Wembley Cup. There's nothing like that. And look at my video about the Wembley Cup game, which was against F2. I was fuming at Dermot Gallagher for not sorting us out. So, and who were we playing? So there's a lot of what's so basic about football, and I've only really has come into focus in terms of YouTube football, is people cannot deal with sport and competition sometimes. Certain people, and I really am not picking out specific names here, because it happened in the Fan League Cup for us. It's happened in players on my team in the Ball Street hashtag games, happened in the Wembley Cup. There are people that as soon as it becomes competitive, just lose the shit. It's bizarre. Yeah, I think that's something that you've done, going back to that first word of professionalism. I think you've done really well to be able to keep your head with all of that, because you are always a target, aren't you? Yeah. And you're finding that out, I'm guessing, this season.
People will never know the stuff that happens behind the scenes for many reasons, but like, if you asked anyone at EE or Poke, the agency that helps us do the Wembley Cup, ever since the first Wembley Cup, I've sat in the meetings, I've gone, guys, I need to lose this Wembley Cup. I've said it every time. Now, don't be confused and don't think I'm going to try and lose it.
The other side, yeah,
because I'm not going to try and lose it. I'm still a competitive guy. Put me on a pitch and I've got a team. I want to win.
The point, yeah.
But I've said, so like, for example, the first year, and a lot of it is involving the F2 guys. The first year, we couldn't split up the F2, and that did make our team better than the Sidemen team on paper. That was probably the most imbalanced ones we've had in terms of teams. Right. There was reasons for that. The reasons I said give them to the Sidemen then, because I wanted the challenge. We couldn't give them to the Sidemen boys because how the series works. So you have to remember, like, when the brand gets involved or whatever, and they want to make something, they want to make an engaging series. They want some amount of views across the series, etc. How do you get those things? Well, you create this storyline. It's all the only sort of thing the narrative we created with the first Wembley Cup was this thing about Manny being a turncoat and like being on our team, then going to, which again we learned loads from, because Manny got us a stick for it, and I was like, I thought people knew this was like a WWE type storyline that wasn't real. That was actually from a complaint from the other side that the teams weren't fair, so we were trying to make them fair. Us, what if we give you Manny? So do you know what I mean? So we're always trying to do the right thing for the content.
Yeah.
And but yeah, the F2 boys couldn't be split up. That was their call. They didn't want to be on separate teams. So he said, can we give them to the Sidemen? But our team was made in the series. The Sidemen team, obviously, for a number of reasons, we couldn't get them to come to all the shoot days. So we can't have the F2 boys involved unless they're in the team I'm building. Yeah. So that's why they ended up in my team. Second year, I said, give the F2 to the other team, because the F2 basically is who everyone thinks will win. Yeah. Especially when it's just YouTubers involved. By far the better footballers out of the YouTube guys. So I said, give Joe Weller's team the F2 boys. That way I won't be considered the favourite. So it won't be look like I've sacked it in my favour. And if I win, it's an amazing achievement. If I lose, I lose. Yeah. And what happens? They both get injured.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? So we then have to try and fix the teams. We took Jimmy Conrad from our team, gave Jimmy Conrad to the other team, etc. But then it's like, obviously, what can I do?
So how do you feel? Because that is one word I've got written down here, is opinions. Because you've been in this world where you want comments, you want opinions, you want engagement, but that means you've got to deal with all the opinions and the comments and the engagement. Yeah. And how have you evolved in terms of dealing with that over the years? Are you chilled about it now? Have you always been chilled about it? Have you had moments where you've it's got under your skin?
Definitely have had moments. The whole Palmer's thing came from that, really. The Twitter, essentially. Like I always say, Sky a football match doesn't have a comment section. Okay, you have Twitter or whatever, of course, but it's not on the game, and it's not on the place that owns the broadcast rights to that game, or whatever. Where it feels like it's more like part of the show, which it is on us. So that's great. I'm not complaining, 'cause I want people to have opinions.
But that's the good side of YouTube as well. That there's, sometimes you can get amazing comments from people that make your day as well.
Yeah, of course. Right? Yeah, and it only hurts when I don't mind getting criticism. We had a lot of criticism for the Academy series last year, which was hard to take because part of me felt some people were right. It was like, for example, we decided not to let Jamel win because he was a YouTuber and he was going to win the vote, essentially. Right. It's unfair. And the other guys, what we should have done is not allowed YouTubers to apply. So we took that on the chin. We admitted fault on the screen and off the screen. We said we're going to sign Jamel anyway. We got a bit of stick for it. But I don't mind getting stick if we deserve it. And then I go like, right, how do I learn from that? We've got a second series starting soon. We're changing the way the process works a bit. Right. But when you get a stick that you know is unfair, that's when it's hard, and you're like, well, and your ego kicks in. You're like, I want to defend myself, and I want to say what I want to say.
Yeah.
And I definitely had moments like that throughout the time. You know, I don't even need to get into it. I think I got into it on the True Geordie podcast.
Yeah,
we've been called things that are completely ridiculous.
Well, let's talk about the process then of it, because that's the point.
Just to finish that point,
yeah.
I say I definitely got used to it. It's something I always say to anyone that plays for hashtag now in the future. Like, you have to be on board with it. You can't react. You can reply in a mature way and not be brought into games, but you can't let it get under your skin, because you don't know who's making those comments. I've come into face to face once or twice with a few guys that have admitted to making certain comments, and they're all often kids that, you know, they're often just got their own stuff going on in their lives, and it's like, good luck to them. If it makes you feel better, I hope we can create a world, and we're still very new in this internet world. People are still getting used to it and how you should react on there. One day where people don't feel the need to hate on other people undeservedly, but I just think what's going on in their life that makes them want to do that. I hope they feel better.
Well, that's it. I mean, that's what I was going to ask in terms of, you know, the process of dealing with when that, and you get it and you read it. Is it just a count to 10 moment? Is it for you then?
Yeah, I mean, the sad truth is, like, Twitter, for example, was probably was my favourite of the social platforms as a user for a long time. But I definitely had to limit my use of it. Once I got to a certain point, I just thought it's not healthy for me to actually read all the mentions or to actually interact with people for whatever reason, because it just puts you in a bad frame of mind sometimes. You just get into, like...
What, because they're offering negativity, or what? Why is it
there was a period during the whole football Twitter thing, which seems to have died down a little bit now, but there was a period where, like, you know, if I went on Twitter, I just have X amount of people calling me these names, completely undeserved, not even has said anything, and, like, it doesn't matter how mature you are, how at peace you are with your own personality or your own kind of moral compass to know you've done nothing to deserve it, that will make you feel bad.
Yeah.
It's just, imagine just going on your phone, and not everyone obviously has that many followers, so not going to get that many tweets. So imagine just going on your phone, opening your WhatsApp or a text message, and just having loads of messages from people you don't know calling your names. It's not going to be good for your mental health, is it?
No.
So it took me, after a while, I was like, I just need to stop using it as much. So I just...
It must be tricky for a second, because you kind of go, part of you's like, I've done nothing wrong, so I should still be able to kind of use this platform, or just wash it away. And I'm guessing here, is there a moment where you've just got to go, this isn't good, like, even stepping into that room's it's not good for me. So
yeah, I still use it, but I don't read replies as much. It doesn't. I mean, to be fair, that was a period of time that didn't last. It was all like this group of people.
The intensity of Twitter as well is just like different level, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely the most negative of all the platforms, for sure. There's much more positivity on some of the others in terms of interaction. But I actually remember in Kiev last year, Champions League final, was the day that we announced we're going non-league. It's a mental day for me, so I was there working for BT Sport. So I'd done my own stuff to do, to worry about. And then it was also the day we got announced, and we got a bit stuffed because we'd even been introduced to the point of going to non-league by these guys from the Essex Senior League, which is hopefully the league we're going to get promoted to tonight. And basically, we were all told we were going to be ratified with the FA, and then the first we heard they were putting us in another league, which is basically games in Birmingham, was the day they announced it to the world. No new information for us. No, like, by the way, for whatever, because our stadium was in North London, which also falls within the barrier of a league that plays in the Midlands, as well as the league that plays in Essex, we're going to put in this league, right? So first of all, that's a bit of an ambush. Second of all, it's quite big news when #United gets announced to go into non-league. As you can imagine, there's a lot of opinion on it, positive and negative.
Yeah, I remember.
Third of all, the reason we were going down this route is not just because we're an Essex-based club, we went to the Essex Senior League, it's because Essex didn't have a Step 6 league. It was being created from fresh. So not only were we coming in as a new club, not taking anyone's spot, anyone's history, we were not taking a spot from another team, because everyone in that league was new. Because teams had come down, teams had come up. There's a few other new teams in that league as well.
So going into, let's get into #United now in this season and the starting point of it. Is that an element of the kind of, again, the story carrying on in terms of just knowing that you need to level up now? You know, you'd got to a point where did you feel like you'd exhausted that storyline a little bit and you needed to create this new storyline? Was that the thought process? And then from then on, how did it come to be?
When we started doing # in the first place, we always said to each other, like, we'll just do this for as long as people want to watch it, or as long as we can play, because we were all of an age. Even my friends were like 28 at the time, 27. Seb's men's were all in their 30s. you only have a certain, like, people going mental when Dan Brown retires and shit. He's like 35 with 3 kids, like, and he's travelling 2 hours to
He's
a game.
still got it!
Like, but it's not, no, but do you know what I mean? It's not weird to think he retire. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Our goalkeeper's 41.
Yeah, he will never retire, Jacko, no.
No, hopefully not. But so we're always going to have to retire at some point, and it was like, okay, we got to a point where we didn't know where we could go with it. Like, yeah, we've done tours, we could keep doing them, but we'd finish this division structure, which, like...
Had you seen a dip in views or anything like that?
Well, I'd moved stuff to, after, I'd always planned at some point to put it all on another channel.
Yeah.
So we started the hashtag channel.
Because that's the vision of making something bigger than...
Bigger than me,
right? Yeah.
exactly. That could be completely, if you're a football club, you know, if you're a football club and you want football fans that are going to potentially one day only support hashtag or whatever, you can't be on a channel called Spencer FC. And even though I'd get more views at that point on that channel, it could never grow the way it could grow on my channel. And it would allow my channel to do other things as well.
All these decisions are like huge decisions from my perspective. Do you take them, is there a lot of worry over those decisions, or do you just calmly go, well, no, this is necessary to continue to get bigger and better?
I wouldn't say I worry about them, but I just felt it had to live on its own merits. I was trying to create one of the best things we've done, which isn't something that you put in a YouTube title, which people would care about and click on, is become sustainable as a football club. Like, that's an amazing achievement. I know how amazing that is, because I know every club we're coming up against isn't. I know how many staff we have. Like, no other club we're coming up against have that many outgoings. People talk about the sponsorships we've got, but we've got much more outgoings than any clubs anywhere near us.
Yeah.
And to be sustainable, to know that we're not losing money, is massive. And that for me was a huge thing that we had to do, and I knew for us to be a sustainable football club, we couldn't be built on a model that required it to be on a channel which wasn't the club's channel.
But even the fact that, like, for you to put that investment into something like that, and, you know, those quality standards of it, I get the feeling that you, more so than a lot of people that I can think of in YouTube, maybe the way that Brian talks and Lawrence talk about, you know, say, the things that they do, that you really are looking, you've got your head up, and you're looking like well down the road, and I think that's a real great taking for people to have, and I think something that I want to have myself in what I want to do, is that actually the next step and maybe the next 3 steps it's not as important to look at that. It's actually more important to look what is the final destination, and then especially in the landscape that you've worked in the last 10 years, you've got to be nimble and calm enough to go, well, no, but I'm still trying to get all the way over there. So I'm just going to go right for a second or left for a second to try and end up being where you want to be. Does that make sense to you? Does that feel right?
Like I say, it's always easy to connect dots back. Who knows what would happen if we left it on my channel? You know, we did get a hit. We did get a reduction in views when we moved to that channel. Right. And I think that one of the reasons I was happy to make that step is I felt it was going to happen anyway, because I felt that we had used that creative idea up. Okay. So I was like, okay, this would be a good time to go. We were starting to take on countries, territories really from the Canifa region, because we knew. But even when we were doing all that, we called it pre-season because we knew something was coming. But we hadn't got ratified to be in that league, to be non-league, until the day it got announced. All be pulled away from us.
So am I wrong then in saying that you are looking that far ahead?
No, I knew what we could do. But I could have got to May, and then I could have got a phone call in Kiev or something, and someone could have said from the FA, we can't be in the league for this reason. I knew we had a good case. Well, I knew we had a good case. I probably would have sued them, to be honest, because I knew we were relevant and we had the permission from the league that was setting it up.
Right.
And I don't know if I would have sued them, so to speak, but I would have. I didn't. There was precedent. That's what people don't understand. Because we went in at step 6. Normally, you'd go in at step 7. We were going in at step 6 because there was a new league being created at step 6. They needed teams, and teams in exceptional circumstances had proven this before. AFC Wimbledon went in at step 5. FC United and Manchester also went at step 6. These were brand new clubs created from. They did not go through the rigmarole of going to Saturday football through step 7. Nor did we. Always give great credit to teams that have done that. We had proven there's a number of boring logistical reasons why we shouldn't have gone into step 7. One of them is safety. Yeah. So you have certain structure and certain guidelines for how big a ground has to be and stuff for step 7. Step 7 is park football essentially. Yeah. And we had case studies of thousands of people turning up at our games. It's not going to be safe. Great, it's great for us because it helped us cut a step of the process out, but it was all based on logic, and they'd have to dispute that logic to dispute our claim. So I felt comfortable, but it's hard to deal with some of these people, some of these organisations. It's not always like the higher guys at the FA. It's often volunteers that just want an easy life.
Well, even if you look at media, which is generally quite a forward-thinking area, you have battles there with. Well, you've had battles there. I think now people are understanding the power of online and YouTube and all those things. But people in football are often so traditional in their ways of thinking, and it can be and stubborn. And I can only imagine how difficult it is.
We were told we had to change our name as well. We were told we had to change our name because it's not a place name. And I said, "Where's Port Vale?" I didn't know what to say to that.
Amazing.
And also, we went into a league. Was
that on the phone or?
If it's an email. We went into the league that has a team, no disrespect to these teams, has a team called Fire United, has a team called Lopes Tavares, full of Portuguese guys, which sounds great. Oh, where's Lopes Tavares? No, it's the name of the owner. Right. The owner of the club is called Lopes Tavares. So they're saying that I could call the team Spencer FC rather than call it #United, essentially, because it's the name of the owner. Yeah, there's all these names of clubs, and I said, so these are the reasons why you can't make us change our name. And then they back down. But just to go back to that original thing, I'm in Kiev and I find out we're getting put in this other league, which is going to make us have a 2-hour commute to every game, and it's taking a team's spot, the one thing we didn't want to do. So what we're getting, all this stick from not only people that are always going to hate us anyway, but we're taking a team spot, of course, someone to be relegated. And I worked so hard to avoid this. I might have never even explored the option of going non-league if that was the point.
Right.
So I'm like, and I'm getting all this hate, or getting all this hate, and just to be clear, it's the minority. A lot of positive as well.
Yeah.
Loads of people are loving it, but you focus on the negatives as everyone does.
There's somewhere to go. That's the problem as well now. You know, there's not like people just go, "Have you seen this?" They've been talking down the pub. Now they can at you and literally like direct it straight at you.
And I felt ambushed because it's supposed to be, and it's still one of my favourite days in the whole thing. Everything I've done, the day we got announced to go non-league, because it gave us a future. And I have in this terrible mindset as a result. It's like, I can't believe this happened. It's so unfair. Like we've made it so clear what we wanted to do. We've operated within all the books. We've played all the game properly, and this happens to us. And it's almost certainly just an administrational error where someone doesn't understand what's going on. But you can't. I was like, can we appeal this? Can we fix this? Luckily, it got changed, right, which is great.
So why did it get changed?
To this day, I don't really know the reason, but we were lucky because our league was new, and there was teams coming in and out of it all the time. That there essentially was a spot. It was 17, and we became the 18th team.
Right.
But who knows what would happen if that hadn't been the case? And I don't know for sure. But the reason I brought that up was because I remember that day I had all this stuff going on, the Champions League, all this stress online. I remember coming out and I was getting all this negativity. I said to Seb after the game, I was like, I think I just need to get off Twitter. I just can't handle it. I can't handle like this stuff I don't deserve and we don't deserve. We all work so hard. We're all just trying to do things the right way. Why do people feel this way? And he was like, always going to be people. Seb said something like, there's always going to be people like that. You just have to live with it. And I said something to him like, probably a bit dramatic. I think I'd had a beer or two. I said, I don't know if that's the world I want to live in. I think what I meant by that was that I might just sack it all off.
I think
Twitter-wise, but
I think when you're like, that's one of the pitfalls of, you know, when you're the face of something and your intentions are good, for it to be seen the other way is really upsetting. It's really upsetting.
I think that's something that we have won some people over with this year who realise we are just an ultimately very positive thing. Like, there's no downside. I'm saying this as a football fan, like as someone who's been enrolled in non-league for a long time. Like, we're bringing young people to the scene that desperately needs it. We're basically like rejuvenating the bank accounts of every team in our league because of the amount of people that come to away games for us, which is great. I'm really happy to do that. And we're just adding an interesting storyline to an age-old tradition.
Yeah.
Like, what's the problem?
And it's interesting because I you know, coming here, I was thinking I've always been very impressed that you continue to sort of tread into new ground and get on with it. And people, from my perspective, people throw stuff at you and you can't just keep calmly going forward. But I think that's interesting for people to find out is that it's not.
Yeah, I'm not just sitting at home going, la.
It's not like
it affects you. It does affect you.
But again, that's the battle of being professional once again, isn't it?
Yeah, and I've learned a lot of things. Like, I learned a lot from the Palmers thing. I have had loads of moments where I've come close to saying something I feel like was really like mainly because I always remember at school, certainly the first few years of secondary school, I wasn't the most popular kid. Get picked on a little bit, and I always had an answer. That was my thing. Like, if you come at me, I'm going to give a better comeback, and I'd make everyone laugh, and you wouldn't have a go at me again because my comeback would be clever, as well as funny or whatever. And that was my sort of thing. So people respected me for that, even if I wasn't their mate. They would stay clear of me because I could embarrass them.
Interesting.
So when you get older and you do stand up and you do things, obviously that becomes a character trait of yours. So it's so easy sometimes to use that when someone says something to you, which you know you've got the moral high ground and you've got a good reply. And I'm like, I could kill this guy right now with a response. But it's not in the best interest of anyone. What is it, to get some retweets? Like, you see it all the time. I say it to a lot of guys in the FIFA esports scene now. EA get a lot of stick and their game gets a lot of stick. Some of it deserved. But so many of these guys take on this role. They think they're crusaders trying to improve everything, but they're just really trying to get retweets. It's like, you're not, you as well as that retweet, as well as that tweet, are you writing an email to EA about what's wrong, and you're going down the proper routes, and you're offering your services to help them improve the game, or are you just doing a tweet? Yeah. Because you need to get retweets, and that's what they're usually doing.
That's it. I'm really looking at those replies, not on the face value of them now. I'm looking like behind them, and going, where's that come from? Where's that? Like, I got one the other day on the Holloway video, and I was like, but when I looked beyond it, and I was thinking, God, that must be a horrible place to be. Yeah. You got the time to do that? Okay, bye. Yeah. But it doesn't make it. It doesn't make it that much easier. But I'm intrigued to see how the world goes when it comes to social media and that kind of wanting those comments and things like that. Because I think that what would be a real shame is if you get to a point where people end up like turning away from it totally, because there is a real openness about YouTube. As someone who's a smaller creator right now, I really enjoy seeing the same names of the people that they've been there right from the start. It's amazing.
Oh, and I sometimes, because I've still got some of my other channels, and I don't upload a lot on them, but they're still quite small in respect to my other channels. So like my Spencer Owen channel, I'll go on there every now and then, and you'll like see how positive the comments are. And it's one of the great things when you're smaller is you haven't had time to find the haters yet. Yeah. And you do find a point. It is a changing of the guard when basically the haters come.
Where was it for you?
Probably around hashtag. Well, it wasn't. I don't think it was because of any one thing. I think it was because of numbers. So I got a massive influx of subscribers in the first Wembley Cup. Right. I got. I don't want to get this wrong. I think I got something like 500,000 new subscribers in about 3 weeks. I was the third most subscribed to channel in the world for a 3-week period. It's mental.
Yeah. Is that fun? Is that fun checking
it crazy, again? Yeah, but you have to remember, these guys have not come for the stuff I've been doing for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, they don't know your backstory.
And they don't care necessarily about FIFA videos or me talking about who's going to win the World Cup or whatever. Yeah. They've come to watch the Wembley Cup, which is great, and a lot of them stuck around. And that continued to happen. But unless I just do Wembley Cup videos and then sit out for 11 months, they're going to have to put up with some other stuff. and people come across and they have opinions. And then when I started doing anything...
This is Scott Pollock.
No, that was the catalyst, was numbers, but also getting anything I started doing mainstream football. The minute I started to, which was always my ambition, I never thought I was going to create a career in making FIFA videos. That was always a means to an end. Yeah. And... the minute you start delving into that world, there's a lot of strong opinions, and there's a lot of people that don't want you to go into that world. Actually, I tell you what, it's probably the Ozil versus Payet video. That was the one I think might have actually. That's when football Twitter started getting on my radar. When I made a video saying that Payet was better than Ozil, and obviously Arsenal fans are the people you don't want to upset. And I'll be honest, that video
they're a strong force on YouTube as well, isn't it?
Yeah, and that video was tactical. Like, I thought this will ruffle some feathers. I believe everything I said in that video at that point in time. I didn't say anything I didn't believe. But I literally thought, I was doing this series called IMO, and I thought, what's one that's really, because some of them do better than others, so what's one that's going to get some, and I'm more than happy to have people disagree with me. I say that at the end of every IMO. What do you think? What do you think I'm wrong about? Let me know below. If someone comes at me and goes, Spence, I don't think you know anything at football. I think your opinion is wrong. I think you're wrong for these reasons. I'm like, fair enough. Maybe you're right.
Yeah.
Cool. I never said I am the expert. No. I said, this is my opinion. That's what football is. But if someone comes at you and says, don't want your family to die, and you get cancer, you're like, what's going on, pal? Yeah. So that was the day, I think, actually it all started to change, and some negativity came in, but I learned a lot from it.
How do you feel about football now after being an owner then from this season? What is your perspective of football now? Has it changed? Have you learned anything new? Do you feel differently about it all?
From a fan perspective, I definitely care less about the top level of football. That's just purely because I'm so involved in the level hashtag around.
That will blow people's minds, but like what I've been...
I'm not saying I don't care about it anymore. I'm just saying I lived for it before. I'd watch every game on TV, And I still love the big tournaments. I went to Russia still for the World Cup, watched every England game, I still love that.
But I think people struggle to understand the worth sometimes of non-league, because what's the point if you're not going to be in the Premier League next season?
Yeah, and that's also not our. I again probably annoyed some people when I made the video launching hashtag into non-league, saying that we were. I think I said something like, because I was trying to educate the viewers who don't know about non-league, where we were in the structure. Yeah. And I was like, so just to clear, we're 9 promotions away from the Premier League, and I said, let's be realistic. It will probably take us 10 years. As a joke, right? Anyone that knows anything about football knows we'd need hundreds of millions of pounds to get anywhere near that.
And you own it. You don't have, wouldn't you? Really?
Yeah, we definitely need a new owner. You know, unless someone starts watching a lot of episodes of Wheel of Fortune, right? So I said that mainly to educate people on the structure, but also to have a bit of a joke. And I am a guy that dreams big, and who knows what could happen? We could get a new owner one day. Do you know what I mean? So, but our actual aim as a club is to be sustainable, even if we stay in the league we're in right now, forever. So yeah, that was a thing. West Ham, I'm obviously a huge West Ham fan. I've had a season ticket for 4 or 5 years. I've used that season ticket, I think, 3 times this season, because they're always Clash of Hashtag games, and that does take precedent. I'm happy to admit that. I'll get some people say I'm a plastic West Ham fan, despite the fact that I'm a season ticket holder. I don't know how that works, but because I chose West Ham over hashtag, but like this is my club. It's my mates.
Literally your club, yeah.
And you know we could play West Ham in the FA Cup one day. It's possible.
How do you feel about the tough decisions that will naturally come as the years go on? Things like, you know, new managers, contract deals, all those things. Does that excite you? That part of the job of being an owner, or do you think that's something you were saying earlier about? You know, I'm good at some things, I'm not as good at other things. Is that something you would?
Well, that was one of the funny things I remember actually. This process is I was sitting on this table. Year and a half ago. It was actually an esports thing. I was negotiating the esports guys' contracts. There's one lad who ended up leaving. He's a good lad, on good terms with him, but we couldn't come to agreement because he wanted more money than we could afford, and he could get that money elsewhere. There's a lot of money in it, so it was just trying to work out whether there was a way we could do this deal. And I'm sitting at this table, I'm getting really annoyed by it, right? And I'm like, what can I? I'm thinking like, I just want to get out of this. I'm in that frame of mind, but you forget how sick your job is for a second. You're just like annoyed.
Yeah, of course.
And I said to myself, I just want to relax for a bit. I'm going to play some Football Manager. And I went, hang on. For fun, I want to go and play a game, which is a simulation of what I'm actually doing. I was like, how mental is that? I was like, and that was made me just snap back and go, there's going to be times where are annoying, because that's how life works. And so you can't get all the negotiations you want, or the deals you want, whatever. Yeah. But at everything at its core, I have to just remember, this is the thing I do for fun as a game in real life. Yeah. So I'm like, I can't ever forget that. And so that's something that helps me a lot. If I ever have a stressful thing, the period, I just say, I'm playing real life Football Manager. Yeah. To get my favourite game growing up that I played, who now are sponsors. Yeah. Of the kit. Like,
that's crazy.
So that helps me a lot if I ever have a low point or anything. But no, negotiate, I look forward to them. You know, I always try and hopefully I can practice what I preach. I'll often be the first to make a video and say certain things about when Leicester sacked Ranieri, for example, and have opinions on that. And it's a different thing when you've got to actually run the team and make decisions like that. So hopefully I can be the person that I want to see in football.
In terms of your long-term career, what? Because there was El Clasico with, was it 11 Sports?
Yeah.
I thought that was like incredible. I thought you did brilliantly, and I think that's a really kind of scary thing to go and jump into. You're now getting more and more experience with the esports thing, and a presenter I used to work with always talks about air miles, and I think you've got so many air miles. A lot of them have been in your room, but that gives you a certain layer that then you can take on to. I remember your pieces to camera for the Wembley Cup. I'm going, fucking hell, he's done. He's learned. That's a long piece to camera. Those little bits that you've done.
Long, yeah.
And so then to move into that moment of punditry, leading a show, having someone in your ear. How did you find that experience? And is that something that you kind of, for you, away from hashtag for a second, is that where you see your career going? Do you want to go down that route? Because I would imagine, was that one of the dreams right at the start for you?
Yeah, it's interesting you talk about air miles, because I am someone that came to YouTube with some air miles, if you like. You know, like you did, like a lot of people did. Like, not just that. You know, I'd done 2-3 years of stand-up. I'd been a presenter. I presented festivals and gigs and random game shows and all these random things, some of which never worked out.
So those live shows, you learn a lot in those live shows.
Yeah, so I'd done stuff, and that helped a lot. And it meant when I did stuff for other people, and I'd usually, for the first few years of presenting, if it was commentating esports or whatever, I'd get the same remark. I'd be like, you're actually quite good at this, because everyone expects YouTubers to be terrible. Yeah. And I'm like, I used to take it a little bit as an insult, because I'd be like, I mean, this was my job before YouTube. I used to be paid to present things, and I used to do things like this. So it's like, and then I realised, okay. So when it came to doing the big one, El Clasico, I wasn't doing anything I hadn't done before. I've done many times auto cue, many times someone talking to me on my ear, all these things I've done. The thing I was aware of is the setting was quite big, and I felt that night that I was not just doing it for myself. I felt like I was doing it for YouTube, like without getting too over dramatic. But I just felt like if I messed up in a big way, it was going to be a big news article the next day. YouTuber messes up, so I was like, can't mess up, so other people get opportunities as well. And so
as someone who wants to follow in those footsteps, I want to do those things. I was like, go on, son. Yeah, this is great, because people they've not been looking this way. And they should have been a lot sooner, I think. Yeah,
and that when I went full time on YouTube and made a point of, and I wasn't making enough money, I wasn't paying my rent, but I felt I could. My thought at that point in time, which is 2013, I thought, best case scenario, get some subscribers, get a following, and someone like TalkSport will come and give me a job. That's what I thought was what I'd get out of YouTube. Because people weren't doing what I've been able to do at that point. It just wasn't possible. You couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So it took me a year or two before I started to think, maybe I don't actually have to come off YouTube, or maybe I can do it online, or maybe I won't do it for those traditional broadcasters. Maybe I will, who knows?
Yeah.
And that was quite important kind of thingy. And then I went through a whole different journey, which was right. So then I decided, right, sort of it's me against the world, I'll do it all myself, and see if they can stop me, sort of thing. And so I started I made a podcast, I made a live show, I made a game show, all these different things on my channel. Great experience, great air miles, like you say.
Yeah.
But so stressful when you're writing the theme tune, singing the theme tune, and being the main guy.
Yeah.
And I hated it. Like, I won't say I hated it, but the podcast,
it's too much, man.
After about 5 or 6, I think we did about 12 episodes of the podcast. Really happy with it. We're number 1 on iTunes for a few weeks. And then it got to a point where I'd used up my kind of catalogue of people I knew I wanted to get on the podcast, my close friends, people I knew in football that I thought were interesting stories, and there was a lot of pre-production work to keep it going. And I was like, as much as this is cool, and I think it's a good product we're putting out, I haven't got time to do the work, and I haven't got the resources, or didn't have the person working with me that would help me make it continue.
Yeah.
Which all these guys end up having. Like the guys that do now successful long-running podcasts, they have help.
Of course.
And you have to have help.
Yeah.
And you should watch the Joe Rogan podcast, which I know is a huge inspiration for Shu Geordie, and he's got that guy behind the scenes who's constantly doing stuff for him. You know, I had none of that.
Yeah, he's got a whole team.
I was doing it all. I had in the live show, I had my brother Saunders and I had Adam helping me. But I remember one time we did the live show, IMO Live. I think we had two things stopped that in the end. First thing was 5 episodes in, our contract with the studio was torn up, and the studio told us they were knocking it down. So we had to find a whole new studio, which was like a pretty important part of it. And the other thing was, like, I remember one of the shows, I'd done an EA gig in Sydney. Everyone else was hanging around in Sydney for a week or two because you're in Sydney, and I couldn't because I had all this stuff to come back for. I spent 40 hours in Sydney. It's more than that to get there and back. And I came from the airport straight on air to do the live show. And it's like, didn't help that I'd played Football Manager the whole way back and the whole way there with no sleep. But I was like, I'm now going to a live show, which I sort of semi-producing really as well.
Yeah.
And I'm having to deal with all this stuff in my ear, the guests, and not just, I was never just walking in, doing the gig and walking off. I was helping it happen. And I was just like, I can't keep doing this. I can't do it all because I'm not putting out stuff I'm proud of. I'm trying to do 5 things at once. I just want to do one thing well. And I decided that I was going to concentrate on hashtag from that point on, and that was going to be the thing I wanted to do. And then I started to think, you know what? I don't have to do it all myself. I might still do it online, I might still do it elsewhere, but what I learned from that is, I think, of all those skill sets combined, some of which I'm a lot better at than I am other skills, the one I think I'm maybe best at and also best suited to do and want to do is the actual doing of the show, the actual presenting, the actual being on air and feeling the pressure, particularly when you're alive. I like it. I feel like I live off it, and I think I'm really good in that environment. I don't think things faze me, and I think that's happened in time. I definitely wasn't always like that, but I feel so comfortable in that environment. So I was like, right, I just want to make that my environment. I'm not going to produce everything. I'm not going to make all this world. I'm going to go and do it for other people. That's why I went to double down on the EA opportunities and just get all this experience, because I felt it was such a weight off my shoulders. When I was going to a lot of those EA gigs, I was escaping this madness. All these people in my house working. It's all no one's to blame apart from me. I brought it all on myself.
No, but sometimes you feel your ambition makes you feel obliged to get bigger and do more things. And when you're creative as well, you go, I quite like that idea, and you want to try all those ideas as well. And actually, going back to those different ideas, what's amazing is probably in the moment you go, oh no, we're not doing it anymore. That means that's a failure. 3 weeks down the line, everyone's forgotten about it.
Yeah.
A lot of it, which not to say it's a bad show. The point is that there's always, I've had that a few moments where I go, oh no, I didn't get that video out today. It doesn't, like, people care, but they also, like, they're off doing their own lives as well. So, like, they'll be back the next day when you actually get it out.
Oh, I broke my neck for 2 or 3 years, along with Alex, basically obsessed about getting a video out every day, which was, the algorithm and all these things.
Yeah.
And it was a big thing for me, probably about a year and a half ago, I don't know when it was, when I said, I'm not going to put a video out today. And I just didn't, and allowed myself that time off. And now I'm so busy, I barely put a video up on my channel anymore, to be honest, on Spencer FC. But yeah, that was a big thing for me. And then when I was going to those gigs, I'd get in this environment where suddenly I'd turn my phone off, I'd check WhatsApp at the end of the day or whatever, but I would go to a gig, I'd have a thing to do that I was paid to do, that I was brought in to do, and I'd just worry about doing that. Yeah. It was like this escape, and I was like, I'd love my own personal career to be like that. So then with hashtag, we had to change it because it was too much work. So I had to get people in to help me. I brought in a guy called Neil, who's been great, and it's taken loads of pressure off me, along with people like Seb and Alex and all the people that work on the club already, to the point now where I oversee things, I'm involved in all the big decisions, but I don't do a lot of the day-to-day stuff. Like, they're all in the office about a mile from here, and I'm not.
Just cracking on.
So it allows me to do the things I think I'm better at, but also things that I think help hashtag. Because if I go and do a good job on those things, then everything gets bigger.
Yeah, that's true. It gives you, and that space is important as well. You need that for yourself. Otherwise, you are going to get in your car, drive a mile away, and go to a cul-de-sac and scream money up.
But also, me doing those gigs is how I earn money. So it's like quite important.
Yeah.
Because it's weird, because I often miss hashtag things because of it. I'm missing the last game of the season. I missed the first ever game in non-league because I was at the E-World Cup final working. Right. I'd love to be there. But not only do I also like where I am, I like the job I'm doing, but that's how I pay for hashtag stuff. I need we need those money. I'm the only person I think ever involved in hashtag that's never been paid for hashtag.
Right. So this is your pocket money.
Everyone,
more than pocket money.
This is my money. Everyone on hashtag's on a wage, of course, as they should be. But I've never earned a penny from hashtag. And there's times where I could have put myself on a wage, but it would have stopped us doing something. So I said, right, I need to concentrate on getting my money from somewhere else, so I can do that.
I want to talk about you hitting 30 because reason people might be starting to think there's a bit of a pattern going on here, because I've spoken to Lawrence about it. It's quite a key moment for him. Geordie, I think I had that little moment myself as well. But I remember seeing on Twitter and Instagram, you yourself got a wee bit sentimental when it was your 30th. You couldn't really believe it. I got that impression that you're kind of, wow, like, God, this decade's been insane for me. When you kind of reflected on it being 30, what were your takings on it?
I think I actually went through those emotions a bit more when I hit 29, and I've spoken to a few people that feel the same about that. I think I know exactly where I was. I was in Vegas, and I was seeing Bob Dylan in Vegas, and it was like what Alex and I had gone to do for my birthday, and I remember I'd always had this thing in my head for whatever reason. I'd always, especially when I was in that grind phase, like I call a couple years where I was like working unhealthily. I still work hard, but nothing like what I used to. Like when I lived in Hertfordshire for a bit and then moved first back to Essex, I before I started hashtag and built a thing around my mates, some of them I hadn't seen in years. I'd missed every social occasion. I'd not had a day off. I think I did go like a year and a half without a day off at one point. Wow. No holidays, nothing like that. And I knew that wasn't sustainable, but it was a means to an end. It definitely worked. It helped me get to where I wanted to get. But I kept saying to myself, when is this going to end? When will I end this? And I put a number in my head just purely because of like aesthetically it looked good to be 30. I was probably like 26, 27 at the time. And I said, I'm not doing this past 30. I was like, I might still work on the same stuff, but I'm not going to work this way. And I basically got to 29. I was like, I can't go another year. I was like, I can't do this for another year. It's not going to end well. Like, I need to change it now. So 29 became a really big catalyst for me. That was basically in between the age of 29 and 30 is when I moved the office out of my house. It's when I hired a few people on hashtag to help me. Lots of things changed that allowed me to get a normal life back, which I think is really important.
Yeah, of course.
And
you felt you were kind of What is the feeling when it's like that? Did you feel like you're drowning a little bit?
I think a lot of people nowadays suffer from some sort of neuroticism. I certainly do overthink a lot of things, and it's very common nowadays.
Yeah.
But I was sort of trapped where I knew I had the sickest job in the world, but couldn't enjoy it. And I was like, I hated that I couldn't because I knew I was wrong. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know I've got loads of friends, and I know there's a lot of people out there in the world who don't have these opportunities, who would love to do 10% of what I do.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. At that point, you couldn't have told me, like, you couldn't have said, Spence, cheer up. I'd be like, no, you don't understand how hard my life is right now. First of all, I'm putting it all on myself. No one was telling me to do it. Not one person, even those closest to me, even those working in the business with me, were saying to me, go on a holiday, chill out. They were trying to help me.
Yeah.
But I was like, couldn't get myself out of this. You're just always told about that hustle porn or whatever it is you called it. Like, you got to do it. It's really hard to actually say to yourself, some things are more important than just working every day. I was like, what am I trying to get to?
Yeah.
And another thing that was quite big for me was and this is definitely not I basically realised that to a small extent I'd achieved a lot of what I tried to achieve. Now there's still loads of money to do, and I'm only a very small part of it. But I've done certain things that I already, at some point in my life, I thought I'd missed out on, I'd never get to do. You know, whether it was presenting things, or having a football club, or having a certain amount of subscribers, or buying a house at a certain age. All these things I never set out to do, didn't think they were possible, and I've done them. Playing Wembley Stadium.
Yeah, of course.
All these things. And I didn't and it was a big thing for me because I'm someone that's always prioritised time as my main currency, and always prioritised being happy as the most important thing. I'd left good jobs that most people probably wouldn't have left in that scenario. I'd chased things that I felt were going to be better for me than things that other people would have said are better, like financial things.
You've reinvested your money into the product instead of into your own back pocket.
Because I believed that I'd be happy. I'm not a financial guy. Like, I didn't think having a bigger house or having a flash car or any of these things that I could have got would make me happy.
Yeah.
So I always did those things that I thought were better, and I got to that point and I was like, I've done all these things. Like, I know they can go further, but I'm aware enough to know, like, that's not.
It's not enough.
It's never enough. To quote the song from Great Showman, it's like I say, I find it fascinating because I do know not everyone thinks like this, and I'm not saying I'm right. I think if anything I'm wrong. Like, I think if anything it's something I almost suffer from to an extent. I say to, like, my brother said when he'd say he'd love to be able to retire at a certain age and play golf all day. I said, what will you do if you get there and you play that first round of golf and you go, shit, like, I'm not complete.
Yeah.
Or what if you want to live on the beach all day and then you're 50 and you retire and you're on the beach, first day on the beach, you have your pina colada and you go, is this my life now? And I felt to a very, very small extent I'd done that. To a very small extent I'd got all these things and I didn't have...
Especially when you're approaching 30 as well, because you're at a point where that is a moment. That is a moment where you go, okay, you know, you can look back and see a decent amount of years, and also professionally a decent amount of years as well. And so it is that moment to do that. So when you've been successful, I'd imagine there's an element of that addiction to achieving for you, like addiction to anything. That it's not the people. You're not an alcoholic if you have one beer a week. It's the people having loads of it. Yeah. So it sounds like, and I was listening to another podcast that you'd done, and it was I felt the same thing. Is that what I found quite interesting was that you're more concerned with more concerned with enjoying the journey or the journey carrying on, than getting to the top of whatever mountain it is. Like, actually the thing that scares you is getting to the top of the mountain. So is that how you felt that moment?
Yeah, well, I learned that at a really young age. I read a really good book. I read a lot of books on this sort of issue, but the book I'm thinking of now is a book called Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's not about motorcycles, but it's got a load of good quotes in there. One of them is something like it's the sides of the mountain that sustain life, or whatever, and things like this. There's loads of little snippets in there, but I knew that already. This is the thing. I already knew those things.
So it's playing on your mind.
Just didn't. I'd forgotten them. So that's what happened. Like, weirdly, I talk a lot. As you can tell, I'm more than happy to talk about this. So I talk about it all the time to people.
Watch time.
The period of my life that I probably achieved the most success in the way that 95% of the people in the world look at it, and that's because a lot of them don't have those things, and so it makes sense to look at it like that.
And you know, you got to have ambitions, you got to want to achieve things, blah blah blah.
Yeah, but that period of life, I got furthest away from my actual true personality. If that makes sense, I felt more further removed from who I actually am and want to be.
What year was that, sorry?
Well, the period from leaving Copper 90 to where I was about a year ago. I felt all the success, all the things it had brought me, all the nice things, and the kudos from other people, and the feel-good factor that you've done this and you've done that, didn't really carry that much weight. And I was like, and I could remember, you know, being 23, living in a one-bed flat in Clapham, barely having enough money to pay rent, and being more at peace mentally. So I was like, I need to get back to that. Don't even have to abandon everything, I just need to re-prioritise the way I do things. And that's what I've done in the last sort of year or so. So doesn't necessarily equate to more
You find it
views.
easy to kind of, once you had that moment of like, okay, hang on a minute, for you to then put things in place and action it, were you able to do that quite quick?
Fairly easily. I mean, doing the things that I really needed to do, took time, like getting an office and getting staff, because you can't rush that.
Sure.
And that was a hard period. That was the period where I drove to the random road and sat in the car for a bit. But once I got through that, I did feel a lot better, and I knew, I needed to just change up the way I worked. Like, I have more time now than I ever had before. That I could take on more projects, or I could, you know, do something. Add a whole new side to what I do. But instead I'm trying to read more, and I'm trying to learn some instruments at the moment, and I'm trying to walk my dog. I work in the most flexible work environment in the world, and I had a dog walker for 2.5 years. For 2.5 years, not just me and Alex, both lived in this house with Joe in the house and didn't walk him most days, apart from the weekend. We had a dog walker come. And it's only actually because the dog walker sacked him off that I've started walking him again. And I'm like, why was I not doing this for the last few years? Every day I get out, walk especially in this weather, walk around for a bit. It's so good for you. So I'm trying to do things like that. I still have loads of commitments. Do you know what I mean? I'm never short of stuff to do. Yeah. Always got something to do every single day, work-wise. But I don't allow it to be like it was before. I take time out. I say, guys, I'll get back to you about that tomorrow.
I don't. Alex that's a private thing. But moving forward, how are you finding single life? How are you finding not the dating or whatever, just kind of being on your own again? Have you acclimatised to that?
I've got the hashtag boys moved in with me now. So I've got hashtag Harry and Wes Tantz living in there now.
Yeah. It's not. I wouldn't imagine that's the same.
No, it's definitely a lot messier. No, to be fair, they've been fine. They've only been here about a week. But no, it's very strange.
Room looks like that after a week.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I've been here a week today. I mean, I'm learning a lot about myself, to be honest, as a person. Because you do live in. I was in an 8-year relationship, and like
it's a long time.
You become inseparable, and it's a great relationship as well. Like an amazing person. So when you're suddenly in this new world, same with the dog walking thing. I probably hadn't cooked a meal in about 8 years. And I mean that. I probably hadn't ever. I've probably done my own washing once, and that's not because I refused to do it necessarily. It's just I had this amazing girlfriend who wanted to do those things and was able to do those things, and it just became, we all did our own. You know, I was probably a little bit busier work-wise. I had a lot of other projects that kept me away, so it was like we helped each other out.
Yeah. You seemed like an amazing team.
So now I'm like washing my own clothes, and it sounds ridiculous, but like it's a new thing for me to do.
And I guess the other thing as well is that, like, you know, when you've had a crap day, whoever it is, when you're with someone, you get to go back to that person, and it makes life a little bit easier a lot of the time. Whereas I guess once you don't get that anymore after 8 years, I'm guessing that's it's a new thing to acclimatise to. Right?
Yeah, it's still very, very fresh. So maybe ask me again in a year. I don't know.
Okay, well, yeah, sounds good. Here's a question that I ask everyone. I'm intrigued to know what you're going to say. What keeps you up at night?
Well, to be honest, one thing that I've got better at in the last few months, I'm a little bit, I think a part of that whole little cloud, if you like, where I was just not myself for a number of years, I was you become very involved in the bubble of your life, particularly on YouTube. You think everything's the most important thing and whatever. I'm a bit more aware of the wider issues now, I think. So I'm trying to be better environmentally, I'm trying to recycle more, trying to just do things more responsibly in the outside world. So I wouldn't say I'm some ecological warrior and I'm going to go and start, you know, protesting and whatnot. But I do think more about that sort of stuff and other people. I made a point of doing the big charity project last year. I want to keep doing stuff like that because I do want to help, if possible, people in other scenarios to me, because that was a big wake-up call for me, actually, when I was in one of those frames of mind last year, or maybe 2 years ago, where I was thinking like, I was basically feeling sorry for myself and I had really no reason to. And then, I don't know if you remember, but there was a big fire in Leicester. Do you remember there was a big fire in Leicester? It was an arson attack, and this family died.
Right.
But it turned out that the kid was a fan of hashtag, and we found out. And it's like basically his whole family. I think his mum, dad, him, and maybe a couple of siblings, and one had survived. And it's really sad. And the people from his school got in touch with us and said, like, is there anything you can do? I mean, raise some money for the people. I can't remember. I don't want to get it wrong.
Yeah.
But there were some people that were still alive and they needed some help. And there's anything we could do. And we did a little auction thing and we tried to raise some money for them. And I remember doing a little talk to the players at that game. I can't remember what game it was, saying like, we should remember how lucky we are, not just that we even get to play football full stop, but we actually get to play football in this ridiculous scenario where we're getting loads of people watch us online and we're going to go and do these crazy things. So let's do it for this lad. And that was a big thing for me where I was like, wow, like how have I got the cheek to ever feel sorry for myself when you've got people that just don't live anymore?
Because I was listening to this thing on Blinkist. It was talking about, I think it was a book called Flourish, and it was talking about happiness and the elements that people need regardless of wealth or whatever to be happy. And one's like positive meaning, I think one's engagement with other, one's relationships with people, but one's a sort of a positive impact, I think. I might be getting this wrong myself, but doing something for others, doing something that gives you perspective, doing something however small that makes you feel like you're doing a bit better for the rest of the world is actually one of those key elements. Yeah. So it's interesting that you say that.
Well, I think you get, if you're lucky enough to be at a point where you can spend time to help other people, that's really good. And not everyone can do that, unfortunately. So, but yeah, I think that's something that I'd like to do more of where possible. And yeah, if I am kept up at night, I usually just put Bob Ross on Netflix. You ever watch that?
Bob Ross?
Yeah, the painter guy.
You
ever seen him?
No.
Someone watch this will know.
Oh, check that out.
Bob Ross, he's got a big afro, American guy. It's all filmed in the 60s. It's like old stuff. It's like Neil Buchanan Art Attack.
Right.
Really basic.
And he just does it really
nice
Is that on
painting.
Netflix?
He's got the most soothing voice in the world, and he just sends me to sleep.
Wow.
So,
okay, I might check that one
out.
Yeah. Last question then. In a year's time, where do you want to be in terms of your career? I know hashtag you look to carry that on because you want it to be sustainable. But for yourself, if we were chatting in a year's time, where would you want to be?
Well, I'd like to keep doing the stuff I'm doing with VA. It's a really pivotal time for FIFA esports at the moment. Like in the last month, we've done the first ever E-Premier League and the first E-Nations. So 20 of the football associations from around the world actually having an official representative or two official representatives battle it out last weekend. So there's all these firsts happening. I was there right at the beginning of FIFA esports, so I want to see it through. And I'd love to keep getting those opportunities. Hopefully I will. From a hashtag perspective, I hope that our team can perform both well in esports and in football. And we have two deliverables, if you like. We've got to perform, but we've also got to entertain. And we need to keep our audience entertained, so that's very important to me. And collect fans. And I love it, for example, when I go to games and I hear people talk about us as we. A guy will go, we're really unlucky that game. I'm thinking, man, you really support us. That's quality.
Yeah, that's
I was out for some drinks on Monday night and a guy come up to me, 25 maybe, and he said, my name's Matt, I've been at every home game this season. I'd never seen him before. So he either lied or because it's a big ground. I'm only in one position, so I might not have seen it. But he's telling me about all these games. He's definitely a fan.
Amazing. And
I was like, wow, it's amazing. This guy's come up to me and he's been to every game in my football club and I've never seen him before. And I want people to discover hashtag. This has happened multiple times. People have come up, people have been at a game in a hashtag kit and not known who I am. I love that. I'm like,
all right, more of that.
It means they haven't come through me. They've come because they've found the football club for some reason. Do you know what I mean?
It's going to come back round as well. You're going to turn back into a FIFA player and no one's going to know your faces. Spencer, mate, thank you so much for inviting me into your home. Let's go watch the boys in the league.
It'd be really awkward if we haven't, by the way.
I know.
How long can you play? The hashtag throw. Oh my God. Ref! How long? 10 to 10. It's 10 to 10, ref. It's past my bedtime, ref. I love that from Tasha. No goal kick. Yeah! Come on! Bring one onto the pitch. Goal up. Goal up. They said it couldn't be done. Well, it's been done, and it can't be undone. Hashtag United are going up. First season in non-league football.